Hi, Bobby Sawyer here with Johannes Meyer & Sawyer, and let's talk about Estate Planning Simplified, a guide for families with young children. And first off the bat, I'm not your lawyer, this is not legal advice, and most likely I'm not licensed in your state. So for anything that you take away from this video, please make sure you consult with an attorney licensed in your state. That being said, let's get into the meat and potatoes here. If you have young children, first off, congratulations, that's awesome. I'm a parent myself. And my estate planning story when it comes to young children is that even though I'm an attorney and I focus on estate planning, my wife and I didn't do our estate plan or wills in place until about 3 weeks before we left the country for the first time without our youngest child, or without our first child. And so we were hurrying about trying to get a will in place and talk to the potential guardians and trustees to make sure they'd be okay with taking the will or taking care of our kids in the event we didn't make it back home. And that's not an uncommon story. I've had several clients who come in and they're about to leave their children alone for the first time with either grandparents or someone else, and they need to get an estate plan in place in case something happens to them. So you're ready to get that estate plan in place. Here's what you need. You need a will. In that will, there's a few things that need to be detailed in that will. First of all, you need to establish guardians for your children. So if you don't make it back home, they're the people who step into your shoes from a legal standpoint and raise the kids. And then you also want some trust provisions in there as well. What I recommend is that you leave stuff in trust for your kids until they're a minimum of 25 years old. And the idea there is not that your kids are bad people, but if you don't put those trust provisions in there, they're going to get everything when they're 18 years old. And 18-year-olds tend to make bad financial decisions, or short-sighted financial decisions, I should say. And by leaving their inheritance in trust until 25, money is always going to be available for healthcare, education, and maintenance. So paying doctor's bills, whatever education they may want, and then maintenance is kind of a catch-all. You know, clothes, food, rent, vehicle, all that sort of stuff. And then at 25, they can get access to everything when hopefully they're a little older and a little more responsible when it comes to decisions. So that's the absolute first thing you need is a will that identifies the guardian and then also has trust provisions in it. And then while you're at it, you're just go ahead and get a comprehensive estate plan for yourself. That also includes a durable power of attorney and a healthcare power of attorney. But more specifically for your kids, you need to designate or at least a healthcare power of attorney for your kids, so that if you're out of town and unable to communicate with, if there's a medical emergency while you're out of town, whoever you've left in charge of your kids can talk to the doctors and they have the authority to consent to medical treatment. And so it's a very straightforward document. It's an authorization for medical treatment, delegating whoever is taking care of your kids while you're out of town to talk to the doctors, receive their information, consent to treatment in the event that you're unable to. I know it's a kind of fast and high level, but a will with guardian and trust provisions, and then a temporary guardian agreement that gives your guardian who's taking care of your kids while you're out of town the ability to consent to treatment, talk to the doctors, that sort of thing. So hopefully you find this information helpful. This has been Bobby Sawyer with Johannes Meyer & Sawyer. Have a great day.